Well, why don't we get started? Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Steve Gershik. I'll be moderating this educational event called 9 Ways to Prevent Cyber Attacks. This is an issue that more and more of BEMO's customers are thinking about as hackers are increasingly targeting small and medium businesses as they believe that we are less secure than larger enterprises, most of which invest significant resources to defending their corporate networks and data. So what can you do in your company to help prevent cyber attacks? It's not as complicated as you might think. Today's presenter is Bruno Lecoq. But before we begin, we've got a few housekeeping notes. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be shared with you for viewing after the event. If you have any questions for Bruno, please use the Q&A feature in the Zoom webinar, and you can also submit a question via the chat feature or email us after the event. If you're hearing this on demand, you can send a question to me directly. I am steve@bemopro.com. If you have any technical questions about this webinar, you can reach out directly via the chat function and someone will help you with your issue. After Bruno's talk, we'll have time for Q&A, and you can submit your questions at any time during the presentation today. I will read the questions out loud for Bruno to answer at the end of his presentation. So right now, let me introduce Bruno Lecoq. He is our CEO and Chief Information Security Officer at BEMO. And please join me in welcoming Bruno to our educational webinar. Bruno, take it away.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you for the intro. So everyone, welcome. So I think today we are going to have some fun discussing about, the 9 ways to prevent cybersecurity. And for me, what I hope is out of today's talk, you will learn 1 or 2 things that you can start applying right away. And if you do that, I will be very happy that, if we can help you prevent attack, you do 1 thing out of it. Very cool. Okay, so I would say let's get started. So first, just quickly, who bought BEMO? So again, we're a Seattle IT-based company. So you can, you know us. Again, the advantage of BEMO is, again, we take care of small company like yours, again, between 10 to 500 people. And so far, we are managing over 360 companies. 1 fact that I wanted to tell you, and I think this would be based on the conversation, on average today, 2 of BEMO's clients are experiencing a cybersecurity attack. So again, 1 thing I want to talk is they are experiencing an attack. An attack doesn't mean that they have been breached. They have been attacked, okay? But again, just from the data that we have, from the people I would say we manage every day, the average is about 2 of it. Okay? So now let's discuss what is a cyber attack. Again, I think you kind of all know it. You kind of all have the definition. Again, it's a nice person somewhere in the world that is trying to, again, disable your computer, trying to steal your data. Or very often, and many people don't realize that, they try to breach your computer because they want to launch an attack from your computer. So again, from the perspective is the hacker is hidden somewhere and they are using your name and will destroy your brand if an attack is sent from your computers. So again, there's many ways to do it. And the one that I'm sure most of you are aware of is, a nice phishing attack, trying to send you an email that pretends to be someone else. And it's so well done that you click on it and boom, you have installed malware. And because of this malware, they can take over your computer. Or they can send, they can decide what to do once they're on your machine. So again, the goal of the whole discussion today is how can you prevent it? Okay. So again, from our client, like who I was discussing earlier, we have an average of 2 daily attacks and we have 0 breach. You also have to think that the average, what we see is people get an average of 29 malware detected. And just, we kind of pull some data from our system and just think 29, you just need 1 of them to be clicked. What happened? So again, and how did the malware come? How did, how the whole system? So we're going to try to show you some tricks of how you could, prevent that. So the 9 ways to prevent a cyber attack we are going to cover today. Number 1 is to enable multi-factor authentication. Number 2, you need to have a password vault. Number 3, you need to keep your software and your system up to date. Number 4, we'll talk about how do you control access to your system? How do you secure your endpoint? Wi-Fi, this is a pretty nice topic. I think everyone uses Wi-Fi today, but how secure are you with your Wi-Fi? How do you protect your admin account? How do you back up your data? And how do you train your staff? So we'll go through all 9 of them, give some example, and have some more conversation. First one, multi-factor authentication, MFA. So out of the 9 points today, this is for me the most important one. If you turn on MFA, you are going to reduce by a lot, 90+% chance of being hacked. Okay, so first of it is, what is MFA? Multi-factor authentication. I think many of you know it when you sign up for your bank. You may receive an SMS on your phone, or if you are a BEMO customer and you have to on MFA, you use Microsoft Authenticator. So again, it's when you enter your password to validate who you are going to have a device and you are going to enter a code. So again, it could be from your phone. You will enter a 2 or 3-digit code to validate that you are who you say you are. And again, why do you need MFA? Well, it's very simple to steal your credential. You may have gone to a website that got hacked. I'm sure you hear the news, or you hear, you listen, you read, you have example every day of site being hacked. So your username and password is widely available. So if I'm able to take it and you don't have MFA, easy. I will be able to connect as you, and that's it. Now I can start my damage. What are the MFA solutions? You can use Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator, or Cisco Duo Authenticator. So any of the 3 will do the tricks. It will work. And what we hear very often from our customer was like, "Wow, I don't want to enable MFA because it's I don't want to have to receive a text or an SMS or having to enter a code each time I log in." The way we enable MFA is we use conditional access. So if you are within your office or within your home or a known location, you will not be required to enter your MFA. It will only happen, for example, you live in New York and someone steals your credential and they are in LA and they connect. The Microsoft Authenticator is going to say, Bruno, can you validate it's you because you never connect from LA? So it will ask me to do an MFA. If I am in LA, I will accept the MFA. If I am not, I'm not going to. The hacker couldn't go in. So again, implement MFA with conditional access, and it's a pretty seamless experience, and you have really reduced your chance of being attacked. Okay. Number 2, have a password vault to manage your password. Again, password is the worst enemy in the IT world. Let's face it, again, I just checked this morning. For me personally, I have 141 passwords. Okay. The danger and what we see with many of our customers is there is what we call the password reuse fatigue. You kind of reuse the same password over and over. And when you are being asked to change your password, you're going to add an extra character, or 21 would become 22, or so you just change one character and it's how you repeat it. Okay. One thing that I want to tell you is an 8-character password. Just give us 3 hours and we can crack your password. Any hacker can crack an 8-character password in about 3 hours. Okay. So I just want you to think that, you think, oh, I have a password, I am safe. You are not. 8 characters is nothing. Okay. As example, 81% of the breach happens because of a weak or stolen password. And again, once the stolen one is from a site that was breached and someone notified you, we are sorry to let you know that we have been hacked and they stole your username and password. Okay. We have some customers, the first time when you say, can you give us your username and password for your admin? And one person was password 1. And you're like, wow, password 1, and you are full admin. A hacker gets your password in 5 minutes, destroy your company because they are an admin. So again, just so the word of password, just be careful. Buy a password vault. At BEMO, we use Keeper. We have mini password vault. Do a password vault. Put all your password. Do the migration from your Word file or Excel spreadsheet or your Post-it on your screen. put it into the password vault, and change your password. So yes, the first time you will do it, it may take you a full morning, but you need to have one password per site. So you get hacked, one site get hacked, you only lost your credentials for one site. On my site, I have 141 passwords. I don't know any of them. They are just randomly 20 characters, and that's it. And so it's how I do it. So between MFA and my random password in my password vault, I can tell you I can sleep at night. So again, just a question I will have for you. How do you manage it today for you personally and within your company? And how do you manage it as a corporation? I can tell you at BEMO, our password vault has more than 1,500 passwords. And it's how we all have our password, how we share password, how they get automatically changed. So it's a whole process. So again, you need a password vault. Many of our customers already have a password vault, and we tell them, hey, there is a brighter future. You are ready for single sign-on and passwordless with Microsoft Authenticator and Windows Hello. So again, I will give an example at BEMO. We are passwordless. When I log in, I have different options. I will have either a number of my screen, and on my phone, I have to type. This is option 1. Or I use Windows Hello. What is Windows Hello? If you have Windows 10 on your machine, Windows 10 Pro on your machine, with a camera, like on my side at BEMO, my login is with my face. I turn on, I click, I'm being recognized, nothing to type. You don't have to type a password. Now I have to have my own password in my keeper because I don't even remember my password. I barely have to type it. It's pretty cool. A world of no password. No, very good. So again, is there, it's ready now. So for some of you, let's talk about it because it's once you experience it, it's very hard to go back to the password world. Okay. Number 3, keep your software up to date. So again, I'm sure many of you are going to receive this alert in the bottom right of your screen that will tell you you need to reboot your computer. And you're in a meeting, I will do it later, and I will do it later. So you postpone. And you have an example of a credit monitoring company in 2017. I will not say the name, but I think you all know them. They got 150 million records stolen. And the reason they were stolen is they had a OS update that they postponed to do by 2 months. And when Microsoft or Apple or Google with Android, when they do an update, because either to make the product better or to block issues. And when issues are found, they are very often known into the world of hackers, and they're already step-by-steps of how to hack it. So you have an unpatched OS, hacker can just come into your OS and do damage. So again, never, I will say, postpone updates, just do updates. So again, I will ask you on your system, is your OS always up to date? Yes or no? How do you manage company OS updates? And as you may have seen, Microsoft pushed an update about two weeks ago. Apple, for the iPhone, pushed a mandatory update 3 weeks ago. So how do you manage it in your company? Just to give you an example with the customer we manage, we receive a notification from Microsoft, Apple, and Google. And within the hour that we receive notification, we force the update of all our clients' machines, all the one that we manage. And within 24 hours, all their system have been patched, done. Number 4, control access to your system. So how do you make sure today, again, I will take an example of an employee left your company. How do you know for sure that user doesn't have access to your company data? Again, very often you will think, oh, no problem, I just remove his account from our system. He cannot connect anymore. Great first step, cannot connect anymore, cannot authenticate. But how do you know that you are not using software to connect online? So it doesn't go through your Active Directory or doesn't go through your authentication system. So how do you validate access? So what we always said is you should have someone in your company, maybe once a week, go check who is connecting to your system. Do you make sure you don't have, old employee connecting, or that even, hackers, you can see, oh, I don't recognize this login. So who is trying to connect? So again, this is from a notification perspective. Again, username, password, how. And after that, let's imagine I connected. Do you validate that me, Bruno, am I supposed to connect to the right folder? Hey, should I have access to the HR folder? Should I have access to the finance folder? So how do you make sure that people are authorized to see what they are supposed to see? Okay. And how often do you review your log? How often do you control who has access to your system? And I see a lot of our customers that, they grant access once, they don't remove the access correctly when someone leaves, and they are very surprised to find out that there's people still connecting to their system. So again, just ask yourself, someone leaves your organization, do you check the log? Do you make sure that no one else is connecting compared to who you want to connect? Okay. Question number 5, ensure your endpoint protection. So what is an endpoint? So again, an endpoint could be anything that connects to your network. I'm always very surprised to see how many companies don't have policies about personal devices. Because of COVID, many companies went to allow remote work. And from the remote work perspective is they let people connect from their home computer. Great. Now, first question is, how do you know on the home computer of the employee they have the latest antivirus, the latest signature? How do you know they're not a virus? How do you know they will not working on a document, upload document, and introduce a virus into your network? The second is, how do you know an employee is not downloading on their personal computer a confidential document? And the third one will be, because you don't have any policy, it's becoming pretty hard to know if a hacker wants to connect to your system. How do you know they are a hacker versus one of your users? So again, if I take at BEMO, from a perspective is, again, we have a policy for personal device versus corporate device. Again, corporate device, you can only connect to BEMO's network is if your device is up to date from an OS perspective, if your antivirus is up to date. So then that machine is allowed to connect. Okay. You cannot connect from, you go at your mom for the weekend, you will not be able to connect with your mom's computer. If it's not recognized as your work computer, you cannot connect. Now, we allow our employee to connect via their personal device to check their email, but they have to enroll their device into our system. So same thing, let us OS, let us antivirus, let us everything, and we know what they can do and not do. If one of the devices is being stolen, or lost, very often, someone will lost, let's just call our IT department, we press a button, and the data from the company are automatically wiped. So again, secure your endpoint, think about the policy inside, outside, what do you want to allow, not allow, and just think about how you protect your data. Number 6, secure your Wi-Fi connection. So this is the one for me. I have a lot of fun with that example. Is many of you will go work at a Starbucks or will go work, connect from an airport. So prior to COVID, I will sometime for fun, I will have, some meetings with a business owner in a room. So we'll go to a Hilton hotel, we'll go to a room, and I will do this exercise where in my backpack, I will have a router. And you go to the Hilton, and if you go to the Hilton Wi-Fi, it's called Hilton. In my backpack, I will have a wireless router, and I will call it Hilton 1. You will be always amazed, out of about 20 people in a room, about 5 or 6 people will have connected to Hilton 1. So again, you start talking, and after 30 minutes, you ask people in a room, I put my screen and say, who are the 6 users? They raise their hand. And I will show them, look, everything you typed for the last 30 minutes, as you can see, it went through transparently. I have access to everything you just typed. I'm a nice guy, so we will just delete what is it, but just to show you how easy it is. So again, one thing is when you connect to a public Wi-Fi, never connect without a VPN. So again, it's a virtual private network, is to make sure that your computer has a secure connection to the website you want to connect. So if someone with a Wi-Fi router, like I discussed, because the data is encrypted via the VPN, I will not be able to have access to your data that you typed during the time you were connected to my Wi-Fi network. So again, always assume public. Again, not all public Wi-Fi are bad, but you never know. So again, never connect to a public Wi-Fi without a VPN. Number 7, protect your admin account. So I believe my bet is 95% of you on that webinar today do not protect your admin account. What it means is you are in the IT team, you are an admin, and you are always admin. This is the worst case scenario. Someone, again, steal your credential and steal your admin, you steal your credential and you're always an admin. As you may be all aware of is, you're an admin, you go to office.com, and in 5 minutes, you can just delete everything and you destroy the company. I mean, someone stealing your admin credential with admin privilege, 5 minutes, you have no more company. So if you don't have MFA, you don't have, everything we discussed before is not done. So if you are admin, if you are a user with admin privilege on all the time, please listen what I will ask you to do. Make sure to turn on two-factor authenticator, as we discussed earlier. And the second one is implement just-in-time credentials. So again, I will use BEMO. I am an admin at BEMO, but by default, I'm always a regular user. I want to do something, I want to do an admin task. I need to go request my account to be elevated to admin. So I go, I request, I am an admin for 2 hours. I do my admin task. 2 hours later, I come back as a regular user. So in my worst case scenario, someone will steal my credential. I just see my credential as a regular user. So again, question for you to think of is, what would happen if your admin credential were stolen today? And do you always connect as a regular user? So I cannot stress this enough. If you are an admin on your network, please make sure to enable just in time. You will thank me with over a nice beer if you find out that one time you got hacked and they only hacked your account, only stole your credential, you as a regular user. Okay. Number 8, backup your data. So there is, in a previous world of the cloud, everyone in IT knew, you had servers, you were backing it up, you were backing it on tape, but everyone has a backup system. Everyone knew, you need to be able to restore or go get some file that you may have lost. You have to have a system. Now in the world of Office 365, people feel like, oh, no problem, it's Microsoft and it's backed up and I don't have to think about it. So the thing that I think I want everyone to be aware of is in the world of Microsoft Office 365, your data is backed up for 30 days. Okay, so if you wanted to restore a file that you deleted 61 days ago, too bad, it's gone. You don't have it. So even if you're on Office 365, even Microsoft will tell you best practice. You need to subscribe to a third-party Office 365 backup. So it will back up your email, your SharePoint, your Teams, again, everything that if something goes wrong, you can restore it. So again, if today you don't have a backup for Office 365, again, figure of it and make sure to have one. And I know some of you, we have some customer that 30 days is good enough. If it's good enough, again, yeah, go for it. But I think for many of you, 30 days is not enough. So if you don't have a backup, make sure you have one. The last point I will cover today is train your staff. 95% of cybersecurity breach happen due to human error. So everything we talked before is all the system, all the tools to help us human to avoid doing a mistake. But at the end of the day, the hack will happen very often because of a human error or human negligence. I have seen some customer, as we were discussing just before, to turn on just in time for admin. I see some admin saying, oh, I hate each time to have to request. Let me make me admin permanently. And, of course, a few weeks later, boom, they got hacked. The admin password was stolen. And that's it. So again, human error, human negligence. Or it could be, phishing attack. You receive a nice email, looks so good, you click on that link. Okay. And maybe if the staff had been trained, they would have been able to identify that, check the spelling error here, or do you think you would receive an email this way within the company? Again, a lot of questions, a lot of things that you need to look when you see an email. So now, does your staff know? They click on that link. Who do they contact? What is the process internally? How do you, So again, this whole process about staff training, so between them being more careful, being them knowing if something happened, where do they go? Make sure you train your staff. Again, you will be thankful. So very often we see with our training from the data that we have about, 26% of users will click on bad link. They haven't been trained. 26%. When we send a fake malware attack, you get about 26% have clicked on the link. After training, you train them for a year. You do stuff every quarter. The number goes from about 26% to about 5%. Again, just imagine what's the 21% save you. So again, train. Just think of it. So again, we just cover again the 9 ways to prevent cyber attack. As we mentioned, turn on your MFA, have a password vault, make sure that all your passwords are unique for every website. Keep your software up to date, so make sure you always have latest OS installed, and patch. Same thing for Office 365. Make sure you always have the latest version. Control access to your system. Again, validate who is connecting to your system. Go check the logs. Endpoint protection. Go back, making sure that you have a policy that decides, do you allow employee to connect from their home computer or not? If yes, what can they do not do? Wi-Fi security. Never connect to a public Wi-Fi without a VPN. Protect your admin account. Just turn on just in time. Backup your data. Okay, make sure your data on-prem or in a cloud are backed up. And train your staff. If you apply, most of those points, your chance to have a cyber security attack will be a lot lower.
Great, Bruno. This is fantastic information. And for those of us listening in, I'm sure there are lots of questions. For you attending live, if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A button, and you can click on that to send us your questions directly. We've got a couple queued up here for you, Bruno.
Okay.
You mentioned how people can see all my employees' info if I connect to a malicious wireless network at a conference or a coffee shop. Is there any way to know if a network that you're connecting to is legitimate?
So first, everything you type is clear. So if I connect to a wrong, I will say a bad router, the person on the end user can see everything I type. So again, just imagine you connect to office.com. Now it's clear the person, the person could type the username and password and it goes it. So it's kind of what you type is being found out. Or it could be like they could take over your machine because now you are connected to the network. And while you surf the web, they try to push malware to your machine. Now, is there a way to figure it out? There is, but it's not that simple. And for me, instead of you having to try to figure out, am I on a good one or not, just use a VPN. You will just be safe, period. And again, VPN are pretty cheap and pretty good, and just use a VPN. Don't try to guess if the wireless router is good or bad.
Right. We've got a couple of questions about VPNs, so I'll get to them now since it dovetails with what you just answered. What are the benefits of having a VPN, and are there any downsides to using a VPN?
So the downside of a VPN, it's slower connection. So again, think of today with no VPN, you may get, let's imagine 100 meg download and 10 upload, just to make an example. It may likely reduce by 25%. So if you don't have a very good internet connection and you use a VPN, it will feel slow. If you have a good internet connection already, you had VPN, you will not really see it. See, I am doing right now the presentation. I am on a VPN. I'm on VPN all the time. I don't even feel it. So again, it's all depend on your internet connection. So the downside of VPN is if you don't have a good internet connection.
Gotcha. And Charlie asks if there is a recommended VPN solution, if BEMO recommends a particular.
So we use one, and the one that we kind of resell is called from Perimeter ID1. The reason why we like that solution is because it's single sign-on. So if you buy a VPN connection, now you need to have another username and password. So now you have a username and password for your VPN, and you have your username and password for Office 365. By using Perimeter ID1, you have the same username and password for everything, so you don't have one. And you can have, so again, I will use example BEMO, because we have our company, we have people all over the world. We have 5 VPN gateway dedicated to BEMO around the world. We have one in Seattle, we have one in India, we have one in Brazil, we have one. So we are able to load and connect people to the closer point that they are, and they are dedicated to us. So this is our dedicated VPN, only us connect to it. The advantage of it, the advantage of Perimeter ID1 for us is, in order to connect to BEMO's network, not only I need to be on BEMO's machine, but I need to have VPN on. So I need to, I know it's you, Bruno, I know it's BEMO's machine, and I know it's BEMO's VPN. Without that, you cannot connect. So this is the advantage of Perimeter ID1, is we can really have a pretty strong secure network.
Let's see, we'll move from VPN to backups. So you were talking about backing up data. What's the best practice for the frequency of backups of your data?
Yeah, so again, so I think it depends on your company and requirements. And again, so we'll talk about our requirement as at BEMO. So our backup that we have is backed up 4 times a day. So everything we do backed up one time a day. So all our Office 365, email, OneDrive and everything. And from a compliance perspective, we keep data up to 3 years. Everything we have. We have companies that keep for 7 years, some that keep unlimited. But again, the backup for us is every 4 hours.
Now, I imagine customers already know that BEMO can help them with their cybersecurity. Bruno, can you talk a little bit about what BEMO offers and how it works?
Yeah, depending on where you are from a customer, the first question will be, do you have an IT team or not an IT team? Okay, and then after, what type of business are you? Again, we don't need to make you as secure as a bank if you don't need to. So it's kind of sitting down with you, understand your business requirement, and then based on that, as some of you know, we have packages based on securing your email server, securing your identity, securing your documents. So again, there's different packages based on what you need. So again, you sit down with us and we will tell you what we think you need to have, and after, what makes sense for your business.
Great. Thank you, Bruno. I think that's all the questions that we have written into the chat here. Thank you, everybody, for attending this session. If you're interested in BEMO helping you with your cybersecurity, either providing you advice or managing your cybersecurity, please get in touch with your customer success manager. And there they are on the screen, our wonderful customer success managers. If your customer success manager is Dominic, he's at dominic@bemopro.com, and Lauren is at lauren@bemopro.com. And if you don't know who your customer success manager is, you can drop me a note. I'm steve@bemopro.com, and I will connect you to your wonderful customer success manager. Now, just a word that we present these educational events periodically to help you better manage your business. So if you have suggestions of topics that you'd like us to cover in a future session, please feel free to reach out to your customer success manager, Lauren or Dom, or you can write back directly to me. If you're watching this on demand, again, drop me a note, steve@bemopro.com, with your question, and I'm happy to connect you with the person that can get you what you need. Thanks for joining us. Thanks again, Bruno.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
This concludes the event.